Good morning, viewers, and welcome to Tuesday Talk. I'm your host, Bridget Mabanda, and today we are discussing on the mushrooming of fuel stations in urban areas. And in the studio, I'm joined by Worship Dumba, former Ward 17 councillor, to discuss more about this issue. Mr. Dumba, welcome to the show.
Welcome to you and good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, so we want to explore the explosive growth of safe stations across the country and uncover the surprising truths about their impact on our environment, economy, and communities. So, what is the process or stages one should go through when acquiring a stand for a safe station?
I think the first port of call is council, which means the councillor is actually involved during that process. That is when the entrepreneur, anyone who wants to do that, will come to the councillor to seek permission to do that trade. And the petrol, just like all other harmful substances, are regulated under very strict and special regulations. So there are so many players that come into play. But the first port of call is council, because it is the councillor who should actually look to it to see what has been brought forward and see if it is in line with what is good for the people. But what must be, the priority must always be safety. Safety must take center stage. Yes, petrol has got, it's an advantage commodity to sell, because it's sold only in US dollars, so it means everyone is actually eager to get into that trade.
I had a conversation with different residents from different communities, and they also mentioned about these processes or stages one should really go through when they are to acquire a stand for safe station. And I have a video of one of the concerned resident. Let's hear him speak concerning the issue.
Inini nditoriwo concerned citizen, ndiri kutoonetsekanawo kuti zvinhu izvi zviri kufamba sei manhau yema-safe station. Safe station haifani kungoti ivakwe pese pese sezviri kuitika izvi, because fuel ikadhuruka pasi apa inouraya vanhu vakawanda. Inofanira kuvakwa, inofanira kuita paperwork yakakwana, and paperwork yesafe station ndoiziva ichinetsa. Handizivi kuti kuministry zviri kufamba sei. Saka totokumbirawo veministry vationesewo kuti zvakamira sei panhau yemasafety iyoyo, nekuti munhu wese nani ari kungoita zvesafe station. Zvekudai ndaitoziva proper paperwork yacho, ndingadai ndatotorawo yanguwo paperwork ndotangawo safe station yangu. Zvinenge zvaboka, ministry ngaitionesewo kuti zvakamira sei, because fuel inova iri hazardous kuvanhu, haifani kuita pese pese. Ndatenda zvangu.
Okay, as you can see that citizens are also concerned about these mushrooming service stations here, especially in urban areas. Mr. Dumba, what do you think is the cause, or what is really driving the rapid expansion of service stations in Zimbabwe?
Oh yes, I think there are several factors leading to the mushrooming of service stations. One, there are so many vehicles now, since many cars are coming from Japan, which means there's high demand for fuel. At the same time, fuel is a commodity. If you are a business person, you are dealing in commodities. Fuel is the best thing that you can sell, because it's not affected by the ZiG. It's actually straight US dollar, and it's not sold by credit. It's cash money. Every time you've got your fuel, you know you've got your US dollar. So that's one. Also, the other demand for fuel that has led to the mushrooming of so many service stations, and there's also compromised the safety of the public in the process, because, as I said, the first port of call is the council. And it is the councillor who is actually involved with the people who voted for that very same person. So it is the duty of the councillor to protect these people. Yes, money can be there, but money should come should come second from life itself, because as the person who actually was speaking that video correctly mentioned it, once we have fire and with these service stations that are now about 200 meters away from each other, otherwise the whole suburb can burn, because fuel is it's actually very inflammable. It can, once it lights here, it can also light the other one, then the other, and then the next, and then otherwise the whole suburb can actually burn, which means there must be in the regularization chain, there must be proper scrutiny to everything that has to be done, remembering always the safety of the people, which I say is the paramount, more important than the profits that you can come from the fuel.
Okay, you mentioned about the increase in number of vehicles being bought from Japan, and Zera statistics indicate that in line with the increase in the national vehicle fleet, fuel consumption rose to almost 1.2 billion liters in 11 months. And how many service stations are adequate to save Harare concerning this increase in vehicles?
Yeah, actually, I don't think we would need as many safe stations as those ones. We can still have fuel from safe places without actually building safe stations in the residential areas. Because what is important is that, say, if a person fuels his full tank, he can spend the whole week without needing a service station. So it means the increase in the number is also made in that people can actually put $5, knowing very well that it will be back again at the service station to do that. So I think the fewer the service stations would be better. Yes, I was also reading from statistics that for in the past 3 years, 4,360 new service stations have been built nationwide. I don't think it's actually in proportion with the number of vehicles being imported at all. It's only that people have seen that fuel is a quick sale thing, and it actually also brings in hard currency. You don't need to be bothered about the exchange, about the fall of the local currency. You know that you have got your dollar.
Okay, you mentioned about safety of residents and the environment, like protecting the environment. What other environmental concerns arise from the increasing number of service stations, and how service stations are contributing to urban pollution and congestion?
Safe places, actually, otherwise industrial areas. And I always feel very surprised by whoever made a decision on one particular service station that I have seen in Harare, that is at Marlborough, at Avondale Police, near Avondale Police Station. It is hardly 20 meters away from cells. And you know, with cells, there will be people locked in there. Those people they are only suspects who will be actually locked in there. Said a fire erupts, everyone else will run away. But I don't think there will be anyone who will think of going to the cells, open those cells, and they let also those people there out. So these people are not even considering anything. And I don't think also the councillors are doing their work properly. I'm not accusing councillors. Of course, there's other forces behind that. But the thing is, are the councillors consulting the residents within the areas where they want to construct these service stations? Because the residents must also play a part. They must agree or say no. In other words, if they don't agree, anyone who is aggrieved by the residents' disagreements can go to court. But I've never heard about that. Residents are also surprised to see one morning waking up to see that what was hidden inside the tents was a service station being built just next to their home, which I think is not very correct. It's actually against even the regional town and country planning act, because in that act, and even the Urban Councils Act, it actually calls for the total involvement of the people concerned, especially the residents. All those residents with service stations should have had an input into the construction of that thing.
Okay, you mentioned about service station being constructed in the middle of residential areas, and there's also another concerned citizen who mentioned about these service stations that are being built in residential areas. Let's hear him speak about this issue.
Tichikumbira kuti vanoona nezvazvo vaongorore kuti zvakanaka here kuti apa pave neservice station. Topa semuenzaniso, ingaitwa service station here ingaiswa padhuze nekumaflats, padhuze nevana kana nemudzimba. Zvine maeffects akawanda. Nowadays vanhu vari kushandisa magasi. Gasi rinogona kuputika. Wati chinoita effects kana pane manhankiri kana pane fuel, which means teta dambudziko kucommunity. Uyezve ma-service station atachitarisira kuti mamwe acho ari kuiswa mumawetlands. Zvinopa futi ma-effects kunesu vanhu, because isusu tichikura chaikura chinzi matoro akakosha, but nowadays takutoona sokutoti haasisina kukosha, nokuti vanoregulariza ma-service station aya vanongoisa pese pese.
Okay, like you mentioned about these areas being not conducive for service stations, and the city of Harare's Works and Planning Chairperson Councillor Takudzwa Dzumbon said there is no policy to regulate some property owners who were applying for change of land use for their stations, resulting in proliferation of service stations. And as a concerned resident, what is the future outlook for service station industry in Zimbabwe?
In the first place, I don't agree with him when he says it's private property. Anyone can do what he wants with the private property. It's wrong. Whether it's the property is from council, from government, or what, the residents, those people who are near that place must have an input. They can actually say, no, we don't want it here, we don't want a service station, and it is actually lawful that that thing can be stopped, even if it is your own home.
Okay, so there's this lady who spoke about the other side, the good side. She said it's for their advantage to have many service stations because it creates employment for their children, since there's a rise in drug abuse in the local communities. Let's hear you speak and shedding more light concerning these mushrooming service stations in residential areas.
Tinenge tatofarawo kuti vana vedu vawanawo zvekuita nekuti muZimbabwe macho mabasa hatina, uye zvese kuwandawo kwekuita dzimotokari. Maservice station acho kune maservice station acho ari kunziwo chaiwo dzinonguva kunogona kushayikwa fuel. Saka titotarisira kuti sevana vedu vari kushaya mabasa ekuita, isusu vana mai vacho chaiwo hatimwo mabasa masvina tiri kuita, tiri kuitowo mabasa echivhenda ekutengesawo maswitsi, uyezve maswitsi edu straight tichitengesawo nemabhondi zvemusika zvatiri kuita izvi. Service station inenge ichitiwo zvemahiwe, saka tikatorawo mari dzedu tikanoisawo kuservice station kokwikwi tinenge tichitowanawo kutobatsiriko mune zvakawanda-wanda, because zvinezvi vana tikatoona kuti vaendawo vakanowana kubasa paservice station popai unotoona kunge zviri nani, nokuti madrugs anyanya kunyanya muno mufakosi vana vari kuita zvemadrugs. Saka isusu tinenge tichitofungira kuti akatenga angonotsvagawo basa paservice station akawanawo zvinongomutsigirawo kuti awane zvekuita zvinogona kumukamurawo kubva mumadrugs.
Okay, so some people are saying it's for their advantage to have more service stations since it creates employment. And you mentioned earlier about a service station being a viable business to do right now because the sales are in US dollars. What innovative solutions do you suggest service stations must adopt for sustainability?
Oh, yes. Otherwise, I may comment first on what the lady was saying in the video.
Okay.
Yes, she's very correct that more service stations means also employment opportunities for others. But what is more important is the safety of the people. So it's to no point that you can have $100 in your pocket, but you are burning because of the service station where you are working. So I think the priority must not be work, but the priority must be safety. And I don't know what the regulators actually look into when actually they give a permits for someone to operate a safe station. But I think there must be something completely outstanding if ever these safe stations are to be constructed in the residential areas, to make sure that there won't be any fire. But I don't think there is any method of actually stopping fires to happen, because there are accidents. Safe stations, as I see them, are accidents are waiting to happen. Anytime there can be fire at a safe station. So yes, employment, yes, but at what expense? At what cost?
Okay, so which other suggestions do you suggest for sustainability when it comes to safe stations?
Yeah, safe stations must actually be built far away from the people. The first thing that it must be far away from the people, so that if ever the fire happens, no one will be affected. Not in a crowded area because where there are more people, it's definitely, if a fire erupts, it's definitely going to injure people. But if it is far away, it's okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dumba, for coming to the show and shedding more light concerning this issue.
Oh, you're most welcome. I hope the residents also benefit. And also, residents must also take these matters to court if ever they feel they are not safe. They can actually challenge that one if they were not involved, because there must be enough paperwork to show that they agreed that a safe station should be built where it is.
Thank you so much for watching Tuesday Talk today. I'm your host, Bridget Mabanda. So I'm leaving you with a question. How concerned are you about the environmental impact of safe stations? Is it fueling growth? And at what cost? Goodbye.